Now, I don't go to bars, but I do think America's pretty great. Like a lot of people that maybe aren't from Arkansas or Nashville, I'm a bit of a country skeptic. The genre has been completely co-opted by pop stars LARPing as country singers. There's an obvious fakeness to a lot of the major country stars of today. The genre, however, has its roots in blues and folk, genres that emphasize sort of that raw earnestness of everyday life in the American heartland. And country has really moved away from that in the last, I would say, 10 to 15 years. Now, in comes Zach Bryan, a man on the rise to becoming a bona fide country star, with his new album, The Great American Bar Scene. The album invokes a nostalgia for times that kind of never were, but never gets bogged down looking in the past. Bryan is just as present in the modern day environment as he is cautiously optimistic about the future. It's an album of details, both in its sound and lyricism. Songs never get too comfortable in the guitars or too caught up in the harmonica. The songs are sort of ever flowing and at times almost too big for their own good. Country has always been kind of like in between genres, right? Too robust and rambunctious for folk, but not as full of energy as rock. But Zach Bryan taps into sort of this full repertoire of country's influences, becoming super folksy on cuts like the title track or Purple Gas, but also intensely hard-hitting, like the end of Oak Island. And while all of these pros present themselves in sort of different ways on the album, unfortunately, deeper in the runtime, a lot of these ideas begin to wear a bit thin. It's concepts we've seen already, and I began to grow a bit bored halfway through the album. A lot of the songs towards the latter half kind of seem like retreads of things we've already heard, both in the previous albums by Zach Bryan and also previously in the album, in the first half of the album's runtime. Bryan himself, sort of, while at times allowing himself to hit higher or more ambitious notes, he's a bit one note in a lot of his singing. I kind of wish I got more emotion out of him. He seemed like a bit bored at times of his own music, and over the course of an hour-long album, that starts to wear on you as a listener. All that being said, The Great American Bar Scene really is a statement album, I think, for people who might be a bit skeptical on what modern country has to offer, showing that the genre's in pretty good hands. I don't have too much to say about this. I'm not someone that listens to a lot of country. I just happened to come across this album because I thought the name was cool, honestly. The Great American Bar Scene. Was hoping I got some good like Americana, some Heartland stuff in there, and I felt like I was really satisfied and served with this album. This is something that I think for people that might not be too deep in the genre itself, who maybe don't listen to a lot of the big streaming country stars of today, I think Great American Bar Scene is a great entry point for people like me, honestly, who are a bit on the fringes of country. I listen to a lot of folk music. I listen to some indie folk, some alternative rock, things like that kind of dip into the more folksy nature of things, but I've never really deep dived into country itself. And this album really felt like it was welcoming me into this world that Zach Bryan created for himself and for those around him. And I felt welcomed in this world, and I felt like I learned a lot about country as a genre. And the album I thought was just honestly a really quaint, enjoyable listen. So yeah, Zach Bryan, The Great American Bar Scene.